Let's be honest, life isn't always smooth sailing. We all have dreams, ambitions and goals, but sooner or later we hit a wall. Maybe it's self-doubt creeping in, an unexpected setback, or a lack of motivation. In those moments, questions start to surface. Am I really capable of achieving this? Do I have the strength to keep going? The truth is, the power to move forward is already within you, but it doesn't come from waiting for the right moment or relying on sheer willpower alone. It comes from discipline, from showing up every single day, even when you feel like quitting. It's about pushing past your limits, overcoming obstacles, and rising every time you fall. In this episode, we'll break down 10 powerful principles to help you push through, stay disciplined, and unlock your true potential, rooted in Stoic wisdom and practical strategies. These aren't just motivational quotes. They're actionable steps you can start applying right now, no matter where you are in your journey. So, let's dive in and start building the resilience you need to truly win in life. 1. Unlock your true potential. How often do you find yourself doubting your abilities? Maybe it's the thought of starting something new, or maybe you're in the middle of a project and wonder if you're really cut out for it. That little voice of self-doubt can be overwhelming, and it's easy to listen to it and believe that you're not capable of achieving your dreams. But here's the truth. You have untapped potential inside of you, and all it takes to unlock it is the willingness to push past those self-imposed limits. Self-doubt is one of the biggest obstacles that holds us back. We look at the challenges ahead, the goals we want to achieve, and we start to question whether we have what it takes. It's like standing at the base of a mountain, looking up at the peak, and convincing yourself that you'll never make it. The higher you look, the more daunting it seems. But the truth is, you don't have to climb the entire mountain in one go. You just have to take the first step, then the next, and keep moving forward. Progress is made in small, consistent actions, not in grand leaps. The Stoics knew this all too well. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he's telling us is that your potential is not limited by your circumstances, but by the way you choose to respond to them. The way you perceive challenges, obstacles, and setbacks can either fuel your growth or hold you back. The key to unlocking your true potential is in your ability to control your mindset. Self-doubt often comes from fear. The fear of failing, the fear of not being good enough, or the fear of rejection. But every time you give in to that fear, you let it define your limits. You stop yourself from even trying. And that's where the danger lies. By staying in your comfort zone, you never give yourself the chance to see just how much you're capable of. Imagine for a moment that you push past that fear. What would happen if you started believing that you could succeed, even if the road ahead seemed challenging? What if you decided to take action despite your doubts, to push through the uncertainty and give your best effort? That's when things begin to change. When you start taking those small steps, no matter how hard they seem at first, you'll start building momentum. Each step you take will strengthen your confidence, and the doubts will start to fade away. Think about someone you admire, a person who's accomplished something extraordinary. They didn't achieve it by being fearless or perfect. They achieved it by facing their fears and doubts head-on, by pushing through the uncertainty and continuing to move forward, one step at a time. You have the same potential inside you. All it takes is the courage to start and the discipline to keep going. Start today by identifying one area of your life where self-doubt has been holding you back. It could be a project you've been postponing or a goal you've been too afraid to pursue. Commit to taking just one small step toward that goal today. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be progress. With each step you take, you'll unlock more of your true potential. Your potential is limitless, but only if you choose to break through the barriers of self-doubt. It's time to stop holding yourself back. You've got what it takes. Now, it's time to prove it to yourself. 2. Find your inner drive. It's easy to get excited at the beginning of a new project, a new goal, or a new year. The motivation is high, and you feel unstoppable. But what happens when that excitement starts to fade? What happens when the initial thrill of starting something new wears off, and you're left with the day-to-day grind? The truth is, motivation alone isn't enough to keep you going. Motivation is a spark. It lights the fire, but it doesn't keep it burning. It fades, it wanes, and it disappears when challenges arise. What keeps you moving forward when motivation is no longer enough is discipline and purpose. These are the things that will keep you going even when the road gets tough, and they are the foundation of true success. Think about the times in your life when you've achieved something significant. Were you motivated every single day? Probably not. In fact, there were probably days when you didn't feel like getting out of bed or facing the tasks ahead. But you did it anyway, right? You showed up, did the work, and kept going. That's the power of discipline. It's the ability to keep pushing forward even when you don't feel like it. It's the act of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't have the motivation to do it. The Stoics believed that true freedom and strength come from self-discipline. They understood that the path to greatness is not paved with easy wins or constant motivation, but with consistent effort and focus. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, obstacles are not to be avoided. They are to be used as fuel. When you find your purpose and align it with your actions, you become unstoppable. Finding your inner drive starts with understanding why you do what you do. What is your deeper purpose? What is the greater vision that drives you beyond the daily tasks and hurdles? When you connect with this purpose, you don't need to wait for motivation to strike. You can rely on your discipline and determination to keep you moving forward. Take a moment to think about your goals. What are you working toward, and why does it matter to you? When you find that core reason, that deep motivation, you'll find that even on the tough days, you'll have the strength to keep going. You'll be able to tap into your inner drive and push through the challenges that come your way. One of the biggest obstacles to staying motivated is the feeling of being overwhelmed. When you focus only on the big picture and the end result, it can be easy to get discouraged. But here's a simple trick. Break it down. Focus on small, actionable steps. When you take one step at a time, the bigger goal doesn't seem so daunting. Each small win will keep you moving forward, and each step will bring you closer to your purpose. In moments of doubt, ask yourself, why did I start this? Reconnect with your purpose and let that inner drive propel you forward. Motivation will come and go, but purpose and discipline will keep you on track, no matter what. So the next time you feel your motivation slipping, remember that it's not about waiting for that burst of inspiration. It's about pushing through anyway, focusing on your discipline, and staying connected to your deeper purpose. Your inner drive is the key to achieving anything you set your mind to. Trust in that and let it guide you. 3. Break the fear barrier. Fear. It's something we all experience at some point in our lives. It can feel paralyzing, overwhelming, and all-consuming. Whether it's the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, or the fear of the unknown, it has a way of holding us back from reaching our true potential. We avoid taking risks, shy away from challenges, and tell ourselves that we're not ready yet. But here's the thing: fear is the barrier between where you are now and where you want to be. The Stoics were well aware of the power of fear. They didn't ignore it. They faced it head-on, using it as fuel for growth. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Fear often stems from our imagination, what we think could happen, what we imagine others might say, or how we picture failure. But in reality, fear is often much worse in our minds than it is in reality. It's a mental construct that holds us back from taking action, from stepping into the unknown and discovering our true capabilities. So, how do we overcome fear? The answer isn't to eliminate it completely. That's impossible. Fear will always be there, lurking in the background. The key is learning how to face it, how to use it as a tool for growth, rather than letting it control you. The Stoics believed in embracing adversity. They saw challenges as opportunities to build resilience and strength. In fact, they believed that the more we face our fears and overcome them, the stronger we become. The first step to breaking through the fear barrier is to acknowledge the fear. Don't try to push it away or pretend it doesn't exist. Fear is natural, and it's part of the human experience. When you feel fear, stop and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Is it failure, rejection, the unknown? By identifying the source of your fear, you take away some of its power. You can start to see that it's not as intimidating as it seems. Once you've identified your fear, shift your perspective. Instead of seeing fear as a roadblock, start to view it as a signal that you're on the verge of growth, that you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. The things that scare us are often the very things that will lead to our greatest breakthroughs. By leaning into fear rather than avoiding it, you start to break down the barriers that are holding you back. Another key to overcoming fear is taking small, intentional actions. Fear thrives when we stay stagnant, when we don't take any action at all. But when we move forward, even in small steps, we start to gain confidence and diminish the power that fear holds over us. The Stoics taught us that our actions are in our control, even if the outcome is uncertain. Each step you take, no matter how small, is a victory over the fear that's trying to hold you back. Think about the first time you did something that scared you. Maybe it was speaking in front of a crowd, starting a new project, or facing a difficult conversation. In the beginning, the fear felt overwhelming. But once you took that first step, the fear began to fade. You realized that the thing you feared wasn't as powerful as you had imagined. This is the power of action. Once you begin, fear loses its grip. Remember, fear is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It shows you where you need to grow, where you need to push yourself. Don't let it control your life. Face it, embrace it, and use it as fuel to propel you toward your goals. So the next time fear arises, don't shrink away from it. Step into it. Take that first step, even if it's small, and know that with each step you take, you're not just moving toward your goal, you're becoming the person you're meant to be, the person who doesn't let fear dictate their life. 4. Set clear, actionable goals. Have you ever set a big goal, full of excitement and energy, only to find that months later you're still in the same place, feeling frustrated and stuck. We've all been there. The idea of achieving something great can be thrilling, but without clear, actionable goals, that excitement quickly fades into confusion and overwhelm. It's easy to get lost in the idea of success without knowing exactly how to get there. The problem is that without a clear plan, success remains a distant dream, not a tangible reality. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't just set lofty ideals, they focused on what they could control and broke their larger goals down into smaller, actionable steps. They believed that without clear goals, we would drift aimlessly, constantly chasing after things that didn't align with our true purpose. The first step in achieving anything is to define exactly what you want. Be specific about your goals. Vague goals like, "I want to be successful," or "I want to be healthier," are not enough. To make progress, you need to get detailed. What does success look like for you? What specific health goals do you want to achieve? The more specific your goals are, the clearer your path becomes. But setting goals isn't just about being specific. You need to make sure your goals are also actionable. It's not enough to write down a dream. You need to break it down into steps you can take on a daily or weekly basis. This is where many people fail. They set a big goal, but they don't map out the small, necessary actions required to get there. The Stoics believed in focusing on the process, not the outcome. They knew that success is built on small, consistent actions, not on hoping for big, dramatic changes overnight. Let's take an example. Imagine your goal is to write a book. That's a huge, daunting task, and it's easy to get overwhelmed by the enormity of it. But if you break it down, it suddenly becomes more manageable. Start by setting small, achievable milestones. Write 500 words a day, or finish one chapter per week. The key is to set goals that are within your control and to make them as actionable as possible. If you focus only on the end result, it will seem too distant to achieve. But when you focus on the smaller steps, each one becomes a win and momentum starts to build. In the Stoic tradition, this process is called virtue. Virtue isn't just about achieving a goal, it's about taking the right actions, regardless of the outcome. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In other words, the way you approach your goals, your mindset, determines whether you will succeed. If you approach your goals with clarity, determination, and small, deliberate steps, you will make progress every single day. Another critical component of setting clear goals is measuring your progress. It's not enough to have a goal. Track your results. Check in regularly to see how you're doing. This helps you stay focused and adjust your actions when needed. The Stoics didn't just set goals. They constantly evaluated their actions and their progress. This self-reflection helped them improve and stay on course, no matter how difficult the journey became. Finally, it's important to remain flexible. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and sometimes you'll encounter obstacles. The key is not to abandon your goals, but to adjust your plan when needed. Remember, the process is just as important as the outcome. The Stoics believed in accepting what is outside of their control while focusing all their energy on what they could influence. When you set clear, actionable goals and commit to the process, you will have the resilience to face any challenges that come your way. So, take some time today to define a clear, actionable goal. Break it down into small, manageable steps and commit to taking those steps every day. Start with what you can control and focus on the process rather than the outcome. With patience, consistency, and discipline, you'll find yourself moving closer to your dreams. 5. Develop a resilient mindset. It's easy to feel defeated when things don't go as planned. We all face setbacks, whether it's a failed project, a missed opportunity, or even personal challenges that seem to keep knocking us down. The key to overcoming these obstacles isn't just in the actions we take, but in the mindset we cultivate. A resilient mindset is what will allow you to rise every time you fall and keep moving forward, even when the road gets tough. Resilience isn't about avoiding failure, it's about how we handle it. It's the ability to look at failure not as a defeat, but as a valuable learning experience. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't see adversity as something to be feared or avoided. They saw it as an essential part of life, something to be embraced and learned from. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." This is a crucial mindset shift. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, the Stoics taught us to view them as opportunities to grow, to build inner strength, and to develop resilience. Think about some of the most resilient people you know. These are the people who, despite facing tough times, continue to push forward. They don't let setbacks define them. Instead, they use failure as fuel to keep going. Resilience is about how you respond to the setbacks, not how you avoid them. It's about showing up every day, even when you feel like you've been beaten down. The first step to building a resilient mindset is to embrace challenges. The Stoics didn't believe in seeking comfort. They believed in seeking growth. They knew that the greatest lessons and strength come from facing adversity head-on. So, when you encounter a setback, instead of retreating or feeling defeated, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? The answer will give you the strength to keep moving forward. Failure isn't the end. It's a part of the process. It's simply a signal to adapt, adjust, and keep pushing forward. Another key to resilience is self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself when things don't go as planned. We tend to focus on our failures, which can drain our energy and motivation. But instead of being self-critical, practice kindness toward yourself. Understand that mistakes are part of the human experience and that they don't define you. What defines you is how you respond to those mistakes, whether you choose to learn from them and grow or let them hold you back. Resilience also means staying grounded in your values. It's easy to get swept up in the chaos of life, to let the ups and downs dictate how we feel and how we act. But resilient people know who they are and what they stand for. They don't let the circumstances of life change their core beliefs or values. When things get tough, staying true to your values gives you the strength to keep moving forward. One way to build resilience is by creating routines that support your mental and emotional well-being. When life gets challenging, it's easy to feel like everything is out of control. But by establishing routines, you create a sense of stability, even when things around you are chaotic. Whether it's a morning meditation, a workout routine, or setting aside time for reflection, these small practices help to reinforce your inner strength and resilience. Finally, practice gratitude. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back from challenges. It's about finding strength in the midst of them. And one of the best ways to find that strength is by practicing gratitude. By focusing on what you have rather than what you've lost, you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. You start to see the lessons in every setback, the growth in every challenge, and the opportunities in every failure. Building resilience is a lifelong journey. It's not something that happens overnight, but with practice and persistence, you can develop a mindset that allows you to overcome anything life throws your way. Remember, the Stoics taught us that we can't control the external world, but we can control how we respond. And when we respond with resilience, we grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of achieving our goals. So, the next time life presents a challenge, embrace it. Don't shy away from adversity. Use it to fuel your growth. Build your resilience every day, and you'll find that you can handle anything that comes your way. 6. Master your emotions and focus. Emotions are a powerful force. They can drive us to achieve great things, or they can derail our progress completely. How many times have you let frustration, anger, or stress cloud your judgment, leading to decisions that you later regretted? Or have you ever been so overwhelmed by emotions that you couldn't focus on what needed to be done? Mastering your emotions isn't about suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It's about learning how to manage them so that they don't control your actions. It's about using emotional intelligence and focus to navigate life's challenges with strength and clarity. The Stoics believed that emotions, while natural, should not control us. They didn't aim to eliminate emotion, but instead they focused on cultivating a calm, rational response to whatever life threw at them. They understood that it wasn't the events themselves that disturbed us, but how we reacted to them. As Epictetus said, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This wisdom is at the heart of emotional mastery. If you want to live a life of purpose and progress, you must first gain control over your emotions. When we talk about mastering emotions, we're also talking about focus. Emotions can be a massive distraction. They can pull you in 100 different directions and cloud your ability to think clearly or stay on task. But with emotional mastery, you can separate the feeling from the action. You can acknowledge the emotion without letting it dictate your behavior. The Stoics often practiced mindful detachment, observing their emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Let's take an example. Imagine you're working on an important project and you receive a critical comment from a colleague or a friend. Immediately, a wave of anger or frustration may rise within you. You might feel the urge to react, defend yourself, argue back, or shut down. But what would happen if, instead of reacting impulsively, you took a moment to pause and reflect? What if you acknowledged the emotion and then chose to respond thoughtfully, maintaining control over your actions and words? This is emotional mastery in action, recognizing the emotion, but choosing to act based on your long-term goals, not in reaction to your temporary feelings. One way to master your emotions is by practicing mindfulness. The Stoics weren't familiar with modern mindfulness techniques, but their practices were based on the same idea: awareness and presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." This means being aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions in real time. It means checking in with yourself, acknowledging your feelings, and deciding how you want to move forward. Another key to emotional mastery is emotional regulation. This is about knowing what triggers your emotions and finding healthy ways to manage them. It's not enough to just acknowledge an emotion. You need to actively regulate it. This could be through deep breathing, reframing your perspective, or taking a break to clear your mind. Developing this skill allows you to stay focused, calm, and in control, no matter the circumstances. But emotional mastery is not just about handling negative emotions. It's also about embracing positive emotions and staying grounded in them. Joy, excitement, and enthusiasm are all powerful forces that can propel you forward. The key is to harness these emotions and channel them into positive actions, rather than letting them lead to impulsiveness or distraction. When you combine emotional mastery with sharp focus, you create a powerful toolkit for navigating challenges. Focus is your ability to direct your attention toward what matters, blocking out distractions and staying aligned with your goals. Emotional intelligence allows you to keep your focus intact, even when things get difficult or stressful. Together, they create an unstoppable force that can keep you moving forward, no matter what life throws at you. So ask yourself, what emotions have been controlling you lately? How can you shift your response to these emotions in a way that serves your greater purpose? By mastering your emotions and your focus, you can navigate setbacks with strength, stay aligned with your goals. 7. Build winning habits and stay consistent. We all know that success is not achieved overnight. It's not the bursts of energy or the intense moments of productivity that lead to lasting change. It's the small, consistent actions that compound over time. Building winning habits is the key to success. These habits shape who you are and determine the quality of your life. The Stoics knew this, and they emphasized the importance of cultivating discipline and consistency as the foundation of a meaningful life. The challenge, however, is that habits aren't built overnight. They require time, patience, and deliberate practice. It's easy to get excited about a new goal or a new routine, but the real test comes when the novelty wears off and the day-to-day effort begins to feel like a grind. This is where most people fall off track. They start strong, but without the discipline to stay consistent, they give up too soon. The key to building winning habits is to start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire life in one go. Instead, focus on one habit at a time and make it as easy as possible to succeed. For example, if you want to get healthier, don't aim to work out for an hour every day right from the start. Instead, begin with a small, achievable goal, like 10-minute workouts, or even just going for a walk each day. As you build consistency, you can gradually increase the intensity and duration. The Stoics were masters of small, deliberate actions. They didn't rely on motivation to push them through difficult tasks. Instead, they understood that discipline is the true driver of success. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, practiced the habit of self-reflection daily. It wasn't a grand gesture, it was a small, consistent habit that allowed him to stay grounded, focused, and aligned with his values. This daily commitment to small actions ultimately led him to greater wisdom and success. Building winning habits is also about aligning your habits with your goals. If you want to be more productive, for example, you need to develop habits that directly contribute to productivity, such as prioritizing your most important tasks, setting clear goals, and removing distractions. If you want to improve your mental health, incorporate habits like meditation, journaling, or physical exercise into your daily routine. The key is to make sure your habits support the life you want to create. Consistency is the cornerstone of habit building. It's easy to start strong, but the real challenge is staying consistent over time. This requires discipline and a deep understanding of why the habit is important to you. When you commit to consistency, you stop relying on willpower alone. Instead, your habits become automatic. They become part of who you are, and they support you in achieving your long-term goals. One way to stay consistent is to track your progress. Keep a journal, use a habit tracker, or create a visual reminder of your goals. This helps you stay accountable and allows you to see your progress, even on the days when you feel like you're not making significant strides. Small wins add up, and tracking your progress helps reinforce the idea that every little step counts. Another important part of building winning habits is learning to embrace discomfort. Often, the most rewarding habits are the ones that push us out of our comfort zones. Whether it's waking up early, making time for exercise, or staying focused during a long workday. The habits that lead to long-term success often feel difficult at first. The key is to push through that discomfort and recognize that it's a sign of growth. The more you embrace the discomfort of building new habits, the easier they become. Lastly, don't be too hard on yourself. Building habits takes time, and there will be setbacks along the way. If you slip up, don't give up entirely. Acknowledge the setback, learn from it, and get back on track. The journey to building lasting habits isn't about perfection, it's about progress. The more consistent you are, the more your habits will solidify, and over time, they'll become an integral part of who you are. So, today, take a look at the habits you want to build. Start small, stay consistent, and focus on building habits that align with your long-term goals. Remember, success isn't about intensity. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard. 8. Overcome procrastination and boost productivity. We've all been there. You've got a task in front of you, something that needs to get done, but for some reason, you can't seem to get started. You tell yourself, "I'll do it later," or "I'll start tomorrow." And before you know it, the day slips away, and that task is still untouched. Procrastination is a silent productivity killer. It's the habit of putting things off until later. But here's the problem. Later never comes, and the task just keeps getting pushed further and further into the future. Procrastination isn't just a bad habit. It's a pattern of thinking that tells you to avoid discomfort in the short term, even though you know that doing so will make things harder in the long run. It's like having a heavy weight in front of you, and instead of facing it, you keep walking around it. The longer you avoid it, the bigger the weight seems to become. But the truth is, avoiding it only makes it harder to deal with later. The key to overcoming procrastination is to break the task into smaller steps. This is where the Stoic approach to self-discipline comes into play. The Stoics understood that big, overwhelming tasks can paralyze us, but the way to make them manageable is to take them one small step at a time. When you look at a task as a huge, insurmountable mountain, it's easy to feel defeated before you even begin. But when you break it down into smaller, more manageable pieces, you'll find that the task becomes less daunting. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." The same applies to procrastination. The time we waste by avoiding important tasks adds up. The longer you wait to take action, the more time you lose, and eventually the weight of the task becomes even heavier. But when you break it down and start taking action, you start to see progress, and that momentum will keep you moving forward. Another powerful tool to combat procrastination is time blocking. Time blocking is a technique where you set aside specific blocks of time to work on particular tasks without any interruptions or distractions. By dedicating focused time to your tasks, you're not giving your brain a chance to talk you out of it. This strategy helps you to stay in control of your time and build productivity one block at a time. One of the best ways to beat procrastination is to use the 2-minute rule. This rule is simple. If a task will take less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. The reason this works so well is that it helps you get over the initial resistance to starting. Once you tackle a small task, you build momentum and find that it's easier to keep going. These small wins start to add up, and before you know it, you've completed the bigger task as well. It's also important to recognize that procrastination often stems from a deeper source: fear. Fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, or even fear of success can all contribute to putting things off. But fear only grows when we avoid it. The Stoics were known for their ability to face fear head-on and act anyway. They didn't let fear control their actions. Instead, they used it as a motivator to take action, knowing that the only way to overcome fear was to face it directly. So when you feel the urge to procrastinate, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Is it the fear of failure? The fear of not doing it perfectly? Once you identify the fear, you can challenge it and move forward. The final piece of the procrastination puzzle is self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when you slip up. Procrastination can sometimes come from a place of self-criticism, where you're afraid of not doing something perfectly. But perfectionism is the enemy of productivity. Instead of focusing on how perfect the end result needs to be, focus on the process and the progress you make. As the Stoics taught, it's not about perfection, it's about doing what you can, when you can, and learning from the experience. The next time procrastination rears its ugly head, remember this: progress is made in action, not in waiting. Break the task into small steps. Give yourself focused time to work, and face any fears head-on. Don't let procrastination steal your time or your potential. You have everything you need to take action and move forward, so stop waiting for the perfect moment and start today. 9. Strengthen your mind and body. We often hear the saying, a healthy mind in a healthy body, but how often do we take the time to truly understand and apply it? So many of us focus intensely on one aspect of our lives, our career, our relationships, or our ambitions, while neglecting the very foundation that supports all of them, our health. The truth is, your mind and body are inextricably linked. If one suffers, the other will too. If you want to achieve your full potential, you must invest in both your physical and mental health. Physical fitness is often viewed as a necessary evil, something that we do out of obligation rather than enjoyment. Many of us treat our bodies as if they're just a vessel to carry us through life, rather than understanding that a strong body is an essential tool for success. But here's the thing: when you take care of your body, you take care of your mind. Exercise doesn't just improve physical health, it enhances your mood, boosts your energy, sharpens your focus, and improves your cognitive function. The Stoics were no strangers to this connection between mind and body. They understood that a disciplined life involved caring for both the body and the mind. They didn't neglect the body in their pursuit of wisdom. In fact, they believed that physical discipline was just as important as mental discipline. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastering yourself means taking care of every aspect of your being, your thoughts, your actions, and your body. When you strengthen your body, you create the physical resilience needed to tackle life's challenges. It's much easier to stay focused and disciplined when your energy levels are high and your mind is sharp. The body provides the foundation for mental clarity and emotional stability. If you're feeling sluggish, tired or physically drained, your mind will also struggle to stay focused and driven. But when you're physically fit, you can think clearer, make better decisions, and remain calm under pressure. But physical fitness doesn't mean running marathons or lifting heavy weights at the gym. It means finding an activity that works for you, one that gets your heart pumping and strengthens your muscles. Whether it's walking, yoga, swimming, or lifting weights, the key is consistency. Find something you enjoy, something that challenges you, and commit to doing it regularly. It's not about intensity, it's about showing up every day. On the mental side, strengthening your mind is just as crucial. A strong mind is one that can withstand stress, handle adversity, and make clear decisions. Mental resilience doesn't come from avoiding stress or running away from challenges. It comes from learning how to face them head-on and persevere through difficult times. The Stoics taught us that resilience is built by embracing discomfort, not avoiding it. Mental toughness grows when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone and choose to act despite fear, uncertainty, or difficulty. One of the best ways to build mental strength is through mindfulness and self-reflection. Start each day by taking a moment to check in with yourself. How do you feel? What's on your mind? What are your intentions for the day? Practicing mindfulness helps you stay grounded and present, which can reduce stress and anxiety. Self-reflection allows you to see how you're progressing toward your goals. Identify areas where you may need to improve and celebrate the small wins. Another powerful tool for strengthening your mind is reading. The Stoics were avid readers, always seeking knowledge and wisdom. They understood that reading not only broadens the mind, but also provides the tools needed to navigate life's challenges with clarity and strength. Read daily. Whether it's philosophy, personal development, or even fiction, reading stimulates the mind and strengthens your intellectual resilience. Finally, developing a resilient mindset also means managing your emotions. Life is full of ups and downs, and we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Emotional intelligence is key to managing stress, making better decisions, and staying focused. The Stoics emphasized the importance of observing your emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. When you develop emotional intelligence, you build the mental strength to stay composed in any situation, which helps you navigate obstacles with clarity and purpose. Your mind and body are your most powerful assets. Without them, nothing else matters. If you want to achieve your full potential, start by strengthening both. Make time for physical exercise and mental growth every day. The more you invest in your body and mind, the stronger, sharper, and more resilient you'll become. Your success, happiness, and well-being depend on it. 10. Reflect, adapt, and keep moving forward. In life, we often get caught up in the hustle, the constant pursuit of goals, the relentless drive to succeed, and the pressure to keep moving forward, no matter what. But how often do we stop and take a moment to reflect? How often do we pause and evaluate where we are, what we've learned, and what we need to adjust? Reflection is an essential part of the growth process, but it's often overlooked in our rush to get things done. The truth is, reflection is where the magic happens. It's when you take a step back and look at your journey that you can see how far you've come, what's working, and what isn't. Reflection helps you adapt and make the necessary changes to keep moving forward with purpose and direction. Without reflection, you risk repeating the same mistakes, staying stuck in old patterns, or losing sight of your bigger vision. The Stoics were firm believers in self-reflection. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote extensively about the importance of looking inward. He said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the challenges and obstacles you face aren't just things to overcome. They're opportunities to learn, grow, and adjust your course. Reflection allows you to see the lessons hidden in every setback, and it gives you the clarity to adapt your approach for the future. The first step in reflecting is to make it a regular practice. Set aside time each day or week to reflect on your actions, your progress, and your challenges. What went well? What didn't go as planned? Why? What can you learn from these experiences? It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and forget to assess where you are. But taking even 10 minutes a day to reflect can help you gain insight into your habits, your mindset, and your actions. Another key to reflection is honesty. Be brutally honest with yourself. It's easy to make excuses or justify your actions, but true growth comes when you confront your weaknesses and acknowledge areas where you can improve. This might mean admitting that you've been procrastinating or that your habits aren't as productive as you thought. But the sooner you recognize these truths, the sooner you can make changes and move forward with a clearer, more focused mindset. Once you've reflected on your progress, it's time to adapt. Growth isn't about staying the same, it's about constantly evolving. When you reflect on your actions, ask yourself, what can I do differently? Maybe you need to adjust your goals, change your approach, or let go of a habit that's holding you back. The ability to adapt is what separates those who stagnate from those who continue to evolve and succeed. Every time you adapt, you get closer to your true potential. The final piece is moving forward. Reflection without action is like a car that's parked in neutral. It gets you nowhere. Once you've reflected and adapted, take action. Make the changes necessary to keep progressing. The Stoics taught that action is essential to a meaningful life. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." If you want to reach your goals, you can't afford to sit still. Keep moving forward, even if it's at a slow pace. Momentum comes from consistent effort, and each step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to where you want to be. Self-reflection isn't about being harsh on yourself. It's about learning and growing from your experiences. It's about embracing the journey, knowing that every obstacle is an opportunity to adapt and improve. By regularly reflecting, adapting, and moving forward, you create a continuous cycle of growth that propels you towards success. So, make reflection a part of your daily routine. Take time to look inward, learn from your mistakes, and adjust your course. And most importantly, keep moving forward. The road to success isn't always linear, but with reflection and action, you'll continue to grow, evolve, and get closer to the life you truly want. As we wrap up this episode, it's important to remember that the journey toward achieving your goals is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Self-discipline, resilience, and the ability to reflect and adapt are the key components that will propel you forward, no matter what obstacles you face. The 10 principles we've covered today are not just tips. They are the building blocks of a life led by purpose, action, and growth. It's easy to get caught up in the rush, to chase after quick fixes or instant results. But true success comes from the small, consistent actions you take every day. Whether it's finding your inner drive, breaking through fear, building winning habits, or reflecting on your progress. It all starts with the decision to take action. Every step you take today builds the foundation for the life you want tomorrow. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. The Stoics taught us that our greatest power lies in how we respond to life's challenges, and by applying these principles, you can take control of your life, push past your limitations, and unlock your true potential. So I challenge you to take what you've learned today and put it into action. Identify one area in your life where you can start applying these principles and take that first step. Whether it's setting clear, actionable goals, mastering your emotions, or building winning habits, take a step today and keep moving forward. Thank you for listening. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps spread the message of Stoicism and self-improvement to more people who are ready to take control of their lives. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep pushing yourself. The journey may not always be easy, but with persistence and a resilient mindset, you'll continue to grow and reach your fullest potential.